Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the UPMC Event Center for today's exciting announcements. Before we get started, we want to thank everyone in attendance for today's event, including members of the media. In order to keep everybody safe, we're following special social distance guidelines for today's announcements, and we appreciate everyone's cooperation. Following this afternoon's announcement, Jim Duzik, RMU's Assistant Athletic Director for Media Relations, will moderate a Q&A session for the members of the media. President Dr. Chris Howard, our special guest via Zoom, myself, will be joined by head men's basketball coach Andy Toole and head women's basketball coach Charlie Biscaglia for questions during the Q&A portion. In order to accommodate the media who weren't able to join us at the UPMC Event Center this afternoon, we have provided a separate Zoom link for questions that will be facilitated by Assistant Director of Media Relations Ethan Woy. We ask members of the media to please hold any questions until we conclude today's live stream announcement. At 2 p.m., we will also announce another special announcement. It'll be live streamed on this same link, as well as at RMU or RMU Athletics Facebook Live about our conference affiliation for our football program. 1 year ago, last week, I was standing at the same podium at the same location and being introduced as the next Vice President and Director of Athletics here at my alma mater. I'd be remiss if I didn't once again personally thank President Dr. Howard for this wonderful opportunity to serve each of you as your Director of Athletics at Robert Morris University over this past year. I remember distinctly President Howard and I, during my interview, talking about today's announcement. I also remember distinctively many times leading up before my arrival talking about today's announcement. And 1 year later, today's announcement will become a reality. Today's announcements are our next big step in our commitment to and for RMU Athletics. Today, RMU will align ourselves with two nationally recognized and well-branded conferences that will continue to provide national exposure and a commitment of athletics and academic excellence for RMU. Prior to introducing President Howard, we'd like to take time to thank Jonathan Potts, our Vice President for Marketing and Public Relations, and our university's Marketing and Public Relations team, as well as Chelsea Blakely, our Deputy AD for External Operations, Jim Duzik, our Assistant Athletic Director for Media Relations, and our Marketing and Media Relations team. We fully appreciate the extra time and effort that you put in this process and over your weekend, and we thank our university and athletics, marketing, and PR team. Thank you very much. So, as a 94 alum of RMU and the School of Business, this position became attractive to me a year ago in some odd days because of the leadership of one individual and the vision for university and athletics. And I'm thankful and fortunate to be able to lead this athletics department to the next level and build a championship culture under his vision and his direction. It's a special opportunity to work for and with the president and a university with a strong vision for the future. Momentarily, I will introduce Dr. Chris Howard, who is the 8th president of Robert Morris University. He's got a distinguished graduate of the United States Air Force Academy. He's a Rhodes Scholar. He's got a doctorate in politics from the University of Oxford. He's got an MBA with distinction from Harvard Business School. He's got a Bronze Star for service in Afghanistan. That's just the academic portion. The athletics portion is just as significant and impressive. He's a member of the Knight Commission on Intercollegiate Athletics. He's a recent member of the College Football Playoff Selection Committee. He's a former member of the NCAA Honors Committee. He was an academic All-American as a running back at Air Force and was a winner of the Campbell Trophy as the nation's top football scholar athlete. He's also a member of the COSIDA Academic All-American Hall of Fame, and he's a winner of the NCAA Silver Anniversary Award. And he's my boss and my president. And at this time, I'd like to introduce President Dr. Chris Howard for his remarks this afternoon. Thank you, Dr. Howard.
Thank you very much, Chris. I appreciate those kind remarks. I wasn't sure that my mom's email to Chris for my introduction got in there in time, but I'm glad to hear that Carolyn got them into you in time, and I really appreciate the kind words in all seriousness. Good afternoon. It's great to see you all, or at least your eyes, as we practice good COVID-19 distancing and protocols. I want to thank you all for coming out today. I want to take a moment, though, to acknowledge what a difficult few weeks this has been in the life of our nation. The death of George Floyd has forced our nation and all of our institutions to confront some unpleasant realities and truths as we move forward in our day-to-day lives. And I'm here to tell you, as a former student athlete and a person that believes in the role of athletics has in the past, can, should, and will make a difference in dealing with issues of race in this country. We don't always get it right in sport, but we have an opportunity, and we've gotten it extraordinarily right in years past. So I wanted to lift that up And also to think about in terms of COVID-19, our student athletes have an opportunity to create the patterns of good behavior to make sure that they are safe as student athletes when they come back to campus, and also students. So we're asking our student athletes to be what I like to call the billboard and the front door of the university in very, very important issues that face this nation today. But now, for the matter that has brought us once again to the UPMC Event Center, to the very spot where scarcely more than a year ago we opened this magnificent facility, and where a few weeks later we announced the hiring of Robert Morris University's esteemed Director of Athletics and Vice President, Chris Game Changer King. We are in the Harshman Rotunda, named after Richard Harshman, our board chair. It's very fitting to be here. Rich is a gritty, thoughtful, great leader in Pittsburgh and beyond, recognized as a national leader, and to be back here again in the Harshman Rotunda. And also thanks again to Morgan and Kathy O'Brien for their leadership, and as we move this program forward, not to mention all the staff, faculty, and students, student athletes, and fans that have been a part of this. Today, we are thrilled to make another historic announcement. Effective with the upcoming academic year, Robert Morris University is joining the Horizon League for 10 of our NCAA D1 sports, including men's and women's basketball. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the next great step forward for our student athletes, and a special day in the history of our university. We are excited for the excellent competition that awaits in the Horizon League and for the opportunities it presents us, including the chance to showcase RMU in cities such as Chicago, Detroit, Indianapolis, Milwaukee, and Cleveland, and right across the border, actually, Cincinnati as well. I want to thank the Horizon League and their commissioner, John LaCrone. John, who I think will be here via Zoom, has been wonderful as he's helped navigate this transition. I want to personally thank John LaCrone and my fellow presidents in the Horizon for helping us make this happen. Like I said, he'll be joining us virtually in a little while. I also want to express my gratitude on behalf of the university, our coaches and student athletes, and our fans for the worthy competition we face in the Northeast Conference. To their commissioner, Noreen Morris, who's done a great job Maureen Norris, who's done a great job as our commissioner, and all my fellow presidents in the Northeast Conference. Thank you, and I will now turn the podium back over to Chris King.
Thank you, Dr. Howard. As we indicated as we open today's exciting announcement, due to the current environment with the pandemic, we're taking appropriate safety precautions and unfortunately don't allow our special guest, Horizon League Commissioner John LaCrone, to be on campus for today's announcements. However, he is joining us virtually via Zoom. Thank you, Commissioner LaCrone. We appreciate you making accommodations to be part of today's announcement. For members of the media, Commissioner LaCrone will also be available for questions following today's announcement. Commissioner John LaCrone is in his 28th year as Commissioner of the Horizon League, having been named to the position in 1992. He's also the 4th longest tenured commissioner among the 31 Division I conferences. He's the 5th commissioner in league history. He's also one of the most highly regarded commissioners in college athletics and in our industry. Commissioner LaCrone has been in RMU's corner for a long time, I can assure everyone of that. Commissioner LaCrone and I have been in constant communication since the fall semester. He kept me informed of what was going on with the conference realignment from the Horizon League Board of Directors standpoint. All along, we've been upfront with each other. It's not always as simple as saying, you know, we're just going to be able to get into this league. There's a lot of data and reports and politics that play into getting an invitation to a conference and for conference membership's final approval. Commissioner LaCrone has been a true professional, and I can assure you he is an RMU Colonial supporter. Thank you for your transparency and support throughout the entire process, Commissioner LaCrone. At this time, we'd like to introduce the Commissioner for his remarks this afternoon. Thank you, Commissioner.
Chris, thanks very much. I hope everyone can hear me. Can you hear me okay? Okay, thank you. Chris and both Chris's, just an unbelievably exciting day for our league. Everybody from here in Indianapolis and throughout the league is just so excited about welcoming Robert Morris as our 12th member. What an extraordinary opportunity. And I'd be remiss if I didn't thank just a few people. First, Dr. Chris Howard. Chris, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your service to our country. And thank you for your remarks about where we might be as a country today. You are right. We can make a difference, and I appreciate those sentiments. To Board of Trustees Chair Richard Harshman. Richard, thank you so much for your support of RMU and of the Horizon League, and to Vice President and Director of Athletics, Chris King. Chris, your skills at navigating all this have been extraordinary. Thank you for that hard work. And thanks too for all the supporters and media for attending and watching online today. You know, as we went through this process, the question I got most often was, well, why Robert Morris? It's a pretty simple answer. It's about fit. It's about alignment. It's about who we are. It's about who we want to be. And it's about who we want to be with. It's about our core values and our mission and our vision. So I want to take a moment to share some of those with you, and you'll see the connection. You know, in the Horizon League, we're uncompromising in our support of student-athlete academic achievement, as well as our students' intellectual, physical, emotional, and social development. So is Robert Morris. In the Horizon League, we are uncompromising in our commitment to operate ethically. We constantly promote and recognize honesty and sportsmanship. That too is Robert Morris. In the Horizon League, we embrace equity and inclusion by valuing and supporting our individual and institutional differences. So does Robert Morris. In the Horizon League, we value and nurture our relationships, our fiscal and physical resources, our reputation, and the dreams and aspirations of our student athletes, striving at all the time to be the best that we can be. Robert Morris University does this as well. In the Horizon League, we want our athletic programs to support our university missions. And we want to be highly competitive, particularly in men's basketball. So it's just the right fit at the right time. And with the addition of Robert Morris, we are perfectly positioned for the future. So to the RMU student athletes, to the coaches, the staff, the boosters, the fans, the media, and the community, welcome to the Horizon League family. There are many, many good times ahead for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you for your kind remarks, Commissioner Crone. This is an important day for RMU and RMU Athletics as we announce a new conference affiliations. We're excited for the opportunity to become members of the Horizon League. We are appreciative that the Horizon League president and commissioner have provided conference membership starting with the 2020-21 year. RMU will officially become the 12th member of the Horizon League July 1st, 2020. We share the same values, we share the same mission, we share the same aspirations as the current 11 Horizon League members, and we're aligning ourselves with a nationally recognized and well-branded conference such as the Horizon League. RMU has placed an emphasis on extensive research and conference affiliation over the past few years, assessing membership, academic reputation, geographic footprint and travel demands, financial resources that are spent on athletics, and quality and commitment to our marquee sport, basketball. The geography and location of the Horizon League was one of the many driving forces into our decision-making. 8 of the Horizon League members are located within 350 miles of campus, which creates the setup for natural geographic rivalries, in particular with Cleveland State and Youngstown State, whom we've competed against for numerous years with our current sport program offerings. As Dr. Howard alluded, when you look at the cities that are included in the Horizon League footprint, Cleveland and Chicago and Cincinnati, Indianapolis and Milwaukee, we're going to be a member of a conference with significant media markets. The Horizon League now has 7 of the top 36 media markets and 10 of the top 70 media markets in the country. Another driving force for a move to the Horizon League is the opportunity to enhance RMU's brand through a more successful and high-profile basketball programs. The main priority within the Horizon League strategic plan is a commitment of focus and emphasis on men's basketball. RMU shares that same commitment with both of our basketball programs, and with this move, we can capitalize on the recent opening of the UPMC Event Center that allows us to elevate the profile of our basketball programs. The Horizon League's national ranking competitive success in basketball is commensurate with RMU's basketball's current competitive success, and our aspirations. Horizon League sports sponsorship for RMU includes 10 of our 16 sport programs, which includes basketball, cross country, golf, soccer, softball, track and field, and volleyball. We are currently in discussions for conference affiliation for our lacrosse programs, and we hope to have more information to report here in the near future. We will address the football conference sponsorship this afternoon at our 2 p.m. live stream announcement. As we enter a new era for RMU athletics, we're excited about the opportunities that await RMU athletics and for our student athletes as we develop new partnerships and athletic rivalries with our Horizon League regional institutions. For our long-term growth, the Horizon League is certainly the right move for our athletics program, our university, our alumni, our community, and our fan base. We're excited about this next chapter and continuing the forward momentum of RMU athletics. For our student athletes, I'm confident RMU will not only be a strong and valued new member of the conference athletically, but RMU will also enhance the reputation of the conference through the addition of a national ranking institution with student athletes who excel academically, athletically, and in life. Membership in the Horizon League will be transformational for our student athletes. Our focus for our student athletes is our platform. It's our three main areas. It's our student athlete experience, our student success, and our student athlete welfare. In addition to fielding competitive teams, the Horizon League has a strong record of student athlete academic accomplishments, and the Horizon League member institutions' graduation rates for the student body and the graduation success rates for its student athletes are commensurate with RMU's academic achievements and success of our student body. I'd be also remiss if I did not congratulate and brag a little bit on all of our student athletes on a tremendous success in the classroom this past spring. Congratulations on the hard work and dedication in your academics, and they achieved a department grade point average, a record department grade point average of a 3.476 for the academic year, and they had a 3.532 department grade point average this past spring. What an achievement, particularly in an environment that, to be honest with you, is a pretty tough situation with completing coursework that was online this spring. Congratulations to all of our student athletes who are watching today. Once again, on your academic achievements. I'm incredibly proud of each of you and how you represent this department, how you represent this university and community as ambassadors and future alumni. Thank you for attending RMU. Thank you for your continued commitment to your academics, representing your team on the court, the ice, the field, and your willingness to reach out to our communities as we move this program forward. We're looking forward to our student athletes competing for Horizon League titles and championships this next academic year and continue to improve on this past year's academic successes. I look forward to the upcoming fall season, sports seasons, and our pursuit of NCAA postseason participation and raising numerous Horizon League Conference Championship banners. Before we set up for the media interviews, as Dr. Howard indicated, we'd be remiss if we didn't thank Commissioner Noreen Morris and our Northeast Conference members. We've been proud members of the Northeast Conference for many, many years, and we're extremely thankful for the leadership that has been provided by the NEC Board of Directors and Commissioner Morris. RMU has valued our relationship with the NEC over the years, and the NEC has provided a platform for the growth of all of our athletic programs. We're both grateful for and proud of the affiliation we have shared with the NEC. I personally admire Commissioner Morris for her leadership and her vision. Commissioner Norris and I have known each other for a better part of most of our careers. I'm going to miss her leadership. I'm going to miss her friendship. We can't thank the NEC enough for Commissioner Morris and her staff's leadership for many, many years. All right, in conclusion, we want to emphasize today that it's a culmination of teamwork, community support, cooperation, and collaboration. We want each of you to share in today's announcement. I'm proud to serve this institution as an alum. Each of you and our student athletes as your Director of Athletics. The future's bright, and help us create a new horizon. It is with sincere gratitude that we again express our appreciation to the Horizon League and Commissioner LaCrone for the membership of Robert Morris University to contribute to its bright future. Thank you to each of you today for your attendance at today's virtual press conference, and we appreciate your continued support of RMU Athletics. At this time, I'll ask Jim Duzick, Assistant Athletic Director for Media Relations, to the podium to MC the question and answer portion of today's announcement for our members of the media. Please tune in again back at 2 p.m. for another special announcement on our football program at rmuathletics.com.edu or at RMU or RMU Athletics Facebook accounts. Thank you very much.
All right, if you guys have questions, please raise your hand and I will bring the microphone around to each of you. When you ask a question, please give your name and affiliation, and who you were asking the question of. Joining us over at the table over here are Robert Morris, head men's basketball coach Andy Toole, and head women's basketball coach Charlie Biscaglia.
Mike Persek, Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. This is for Andy. Can you just speak to your excitement level for joining the new conference? Do you view it as a step up in terms of competition? And then what are some of the challenges that you foresee with that as well?
We're extremely excited. You know, we had an opportunity to get on a Zoom call with our team last evening, and obviously a lot of them had seen some of the social media rumors and things like that, but they were all incredibly excited. You know, they were really eager, to get into the league, to start to compete. Obviously, there's going to be challenges, new teams, new level of competition. I think when you look at any conference that you're a part of, all conference games are hard. It doesn't matter records or any of that kind of stuff. There are always going to be battles, and so we know in the Horizon League will be exactly the same. We've played Youngstown State, Oakland, Cleveland State, UIC, played many of those teams for a number of years. We're looking forward to competing against those teams and those coaches who do, a really good job with their programs and their teams. And, we just want to be able to come into the league and compete as well as we possibly can. And so that's, been the focus for our guys. It's a new challenge. It's a new opportunity. There'll be some new rivalries and some new games to have some fun with. But our guys, I know, are very excited. I know when I spoke with Chris at the end of last week, A.J. Brahma was actually at my house, and I mentioned it to him, and he was like, Horizon League, for real? So, like, those are the kind of responses that we want to be able to have from our players, and I think guys are ready to get to work, and we reminded them that yesterday at the end of the call that, as we step up, their work ethic and their commitment's got to step up, even though they're, not here with us at this time. They got to be mature in how they work so we can be prepared to compete.
For Andy, privately, just is this something, the challenge of a new conference, higher competition, is this something you've privately wanted maybe for a little while now?
I mean, I think it was certainly part of the next step in our process, right? Obviously, the UPMC Event Center was a great addition to our athletics department and to our basketball programs. And I think, with the evolution of how we were operating, I think this was a kind of the next step for that. I've gotten a ton of texts from the NEC coaches in the last day, or even as Dr. Howard and Chris were speaking, that the news became official. And, we had a lot of great rivalries and a lot of great competition. I think the NEC is a league that is, not as respected for some of the teams and programs and players that are in it. And obviously this is a little bit step up when you look at, KenPom or RPIs or Nets or, all those different kind of rankings. And, we'll be ready for those challenges. It's going to be figuring out maybe some new tendencies and new coaches. Obviously scouting this year will be critically important as we get to learn new personnel, new systems, new styles. But that's part of our job as coaches, and we're looking forward to that challenge.
For both of you guys, Charlie and Andy, when you're used to playing, you've battled against the same coaches and the same teams for years. Is this going to be a lot more work, do you think, especially in the first season, to prepare for a bunch of new teams?
We, like Andy was saying, we've, competed against some of these teams in our non-conference schedule. And as we haven't competed against all of them, you're going to learn teams for the first time around. And you're going to have to, get after it a lot with scouting. You're going to have to, learn these teams quickly, as they're going to have to learn us. And, just traveling, finding the right balance on how you travel and how you do things. That's all going to be something that we have to put our best foot forward. And then when we get out there, learn from experience at times. But, the level of consistency that our programs have had, over the course of a number of years now is built to this moment, brick by brick. We've built and championships and, amazing seasons, great memories, like Andy was saying as well, just great relationships with the Northeast Conference and a lot of memories there. But now the excitement to learn quickly and to get after it and go out there and create those new big matchups that we're going to have, right in 1 year, this year coming up. So does that kind of answer your question? All right.
This is for Andy, Mike Pursuta from DVE.
Andy, you're coming from a league, you win that playoff championship, or you don't go to the NCAA tournament. You're joining a league that's been a multi-bid league. It's put teams in the Final Four. It's put teams in the championship game. Can you describe or put into context what kind of opportunity you have now on the national stage?
You know, I think everybody's excited for the new opportunity, the new challenge. You know, there's a national reputation and brand when you hear Horizon League basketball. You know, obviously what Butler did in 2010 and 2011 was unprecedented. But a number of the other, teams within the Horizon League have had, great tournament experience, great tournament success, have had, towards the top or at the top of, mid-major basketball rankings. And so we're excited to be a part of that. We're excited to try and compete in that. We're excited to see how far we can push our program and our players and see where we can max it out at. And I think this is the next opportunity for us to do that. Obviously, there was great disappointment at the end of our season with the way that it was, cut short, unfortunately, for myself and for Charlie. But our players have handled it great. They're excited about this challenge. I think for the guys that are returning, that experience has helped motivate them some as we've gone into our off season here to get ourselves back into those kind of positions and have the opportunity again to compete for a championship, and being able to enter the Horizon, have the opportunity to compete in our first year is exactly what we'd like to do.
All right, this question is from Seth Rohrbach. This question is from Seth Rohrbach. He says, to whom it may concern, the Horizon League does not include men's or women's lacrosse. What is the plan for those two programs?
No.
Yeah. The Horizon League does not include men's or women's lacrosse. What is the plan for those two programs?
Yeah, as I indicated earlier, we're in the middle of discussions with several different conferences for both the men's and women's lacrosse programs, and based off of bylaws, regulations, and bureaucracy, we're going to go through those processes and hope to have information at least for one of the sports by the end of this month and by the end of summer for the other sports. So those are things we're working on every day, and we should have hopefully those solidified here by the end of summer.
Excuse me, Andrew Chiappesi from the Beaver County Times. For Dr. Howard and Chris, it's no secret that colleges are having difficulty financially right now. What kind of financial aspect is there to this move, from paying an exit fee to the NEC to reducing expenses with travel? What's sort of the financial picture of this move?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So Craig Coleman before, Chris King after that, did rigorous financial analysis to make sure that this was going to be a move that made sense from an expense standpoint. We can't disclose the specifics because of the covenants and legal part of the agreement with the Horizon, but we're able to cover with our operational budget, with what Chris said, with I think 7 of the Horizon schools are within 3 hours, so that cuts down your travel expenses. Chris and the coaches are very creative and thoughtful about the non-conference games to be able to save dollars there, and also generous support from donors and boosters, etc., allow this to be basically a break even over the period. And it's without going into all the details, it's something you do over years, not over a year. But we're able to cover that, and then we think that, as the coaches have pointed out and as Chris has pointed out, I think we're stepping in the right direction in terms of bringing prestige and raising the profile of the university, which helps with other financial opportunities as well.
Just sort of a follow-up for you, Dr. Howard, on what you just said about the rigorous financial analysis that went back to when Craig was still here. Given that, can you paint a picture for us about how far back discussions went to getting Robert Morris into the Horizon?
I think Robert Morris started the conversation in 1787 with the move to the. I see you smiling behind your mask there. The day I was recruited or was in conversation to be president of Robert Morris, there was discussion of which conference was the right conference. And I always said, we're in the NEC until we're not in the NEC, and we're very proud to have been members for almost 39, 40 years. I think it's the mark of a program that's strong and getting stronger, that there has been, I think, constant discussion and gossiping, as it were, about where we would land, and I'm excited that we're landing here today.
It's for both Charlie and Andy. Can you talk about the impact that moving to this league can have in both your recruitings? Are you going to get into a different level of kid that you've been?
Well, I think we have some pretty good players on our roster right now. I mean, I don't want to throw all those guys out, but I think you know, you're always going to try and find the pieces that are going to help you compete for, you know, at a championship level, and guys that are the right fit for your program and your culture, guys you can coach, guys that obviously are talented. I think, you know, through the years we've competed with, you know, a number of Horizon League schools on recruits. We've competed with, you know, guys that are recruited in the Atlantic 10, guys that are recruited in the Colonial. So there's, you know, the Mid-American Conference. So I think that's kind of where we've always set our bar in terms of recruiting, and that is what we'll continue to do. You know, not everybody that's, you know, supposedly has offers and is ranked at X level is the right fit for us and for our program, and we want to find guys that are going to be unselfish, guys that are going to work, and guys that are going to buy into our program and do the things necessary for us to be successful. And, you know, it's always been our you know, our plan from a recruiting standpoint, and that won't change.
Geographically, for us at least, I feel an opportunity to go west. You know, as different programs have had success with going in certain areas, you know, west for us has been something that hasn't been as much of a big home run. And a lot of it has to do with that we didn't travel out that way at all in our conference. You know, a lot of our recruiting pipeline was going east or going southeast. So now, you know, getting into Ohio and going further west is exciting. You know, you know, recruits, prospects will, you know, they will look at Robert Morris as being a team that comes back home. You know, a team that comes back to their area, and they'll identify us now in the league that they're familiar with, because they get those you know, those local news reports of them, you know, playing against us. So I echo what Andy says about the level of recruit that we've had here, and there's a reason why we're going into the Horizon League, is because we've had some great players and student athletes come to this program and to Andy's program and build to where we are. And now I just feel that there's a different area in the country that we're going to be able to extend now. Doesn't mean that other pipeline's going to go away, but now we're going to be able to grow with our pipeline into a new part of the country.
For Andy, Alan Saunders, Pittsburgh Sports. Now, one of the things that seems like it's really impacted your program specifically over the last few years has been transfers. And how does moving up to a conference with a higher level of national recognition, does that make it easier for you to hang on to guys, that you don't have to go through that churn of you make a guy into a successful player and then he goes somewhere else?
You hope it will. You know, you hope it'll continue to allow guys to understand the opportunity that they'll have at Robert Morris University, playing in the Horizon League with, you know, some of the media markets that Chris discussed. Obviously, the relationship with ESPN and the ESPN family of networks that all the Horizon League games are either streamed or broadcast on. So you hope that they get the things that they're looking for out of their experience, you know, with this move as well. And you know, the transfer world is certainly an interesting one, and one that I think everyone has had, you know, good stories with and horror stories with. And we hope that, you know, making this move to the Horizon will allow us to continue to stabilize our roster. But again, a lot of that goes back to the guys that we're bringing in. Hopefully they're understanding that they can reach their goals from Robert Morris University and with the Horizon League and all the things that come with that. So we'll see how it plays out. You know, obviously there's some legislation out there about transfers that could, you know, completely disrupt the whole system to begin with. But as of right now, you know, we're excited. This is, you know, knock on wood, as of June 15th, this might be the first time in a long time that we don't have any transfers on our roster, and or outgoing transfers, I should say. So, you know, we're hoping that's a sign of things to come.
Guy Junker from Channel 4. Chris and Dr. Howard, how far along are you in plans like A, Plan B, aside from the conference change, for your fall sports in terms of fans at football games, no fans at football? I mean, I know you can't wait till August to figure that out.
Hey, Chris, let me take the larger student part, and you take the student athlete. So now I'll just speak, globally. We did our white paper on reopening Robert Morris University because our student athletes, we know first and foremost, are students. And we want to make it a safe environment for them to come back. And if you've seen that we're planning on starting on time, and unlike many other universities in the area, finishing by Thanksgiving with virtual exams after that. That's the plan. We're probably 85-90% there. The protocols that have come down from the CDC, from the White House, from the governor, and from Secretary Levine have been very useful as we built our plan, and so we're feeling comfortable that we can get the student part right with things like this, social distancing and mask and washing your hands a lot and things like that, and self-assessments, et cetera. So, what Chris and I talked about, and I have a group called Cabinet Plus 5, and that's my cabinet leadership team of about 9 people and 5 other important experts from across the campus, and we've worked literally, virtually every day since like March 12th, we talk about this, and so I feel like we put a nice plan together, and Chris has a lead on the other part that fits in with student athletes. So I'll just turn over to Chris to get to the student athlete piece.
Yeah, as Dr. Howard said, the university's done quite a comprehensive review of this entire process from day one up until now, and we actually have an athletics COVID-19 committee. It's a very diverse group of some university administrators, some of our athletics coaches, assistant coaches, as well as our athletics administration, and they've been working through the preparation to return to campus, the preparation to return to workouts, and then also the preparation for practice and competition down the road. Of course, some of the institutions that are Power 5 have a little more money, a little more staff. Some of them have the medical schools to go along with it, and so they're a little further ahead. We've kind of taken our time a little bit. My number one priority is the health and safety of our student athletes and our staff, and so we've kind of sat back and watched a little bit. We've got a plan. In fact, we have a meeting this afternoon, Dr. Howard and I, to kind of discuss that and when we would look at returning the staff and the coaches back to campus, and then also when we would take a look at the fall sports and bringing those student athletes back to campus. It's going to be a little bit earlier than maybe preseason practice potentially, just because of the quarantine and other parts of making sure that they're safe and sound. And then we also are looking at our men's and women's basketball program. Of course, we want to get them back in here. We want to get them back in voluntary workouts, and so when we do have the opportunity when they can go back in and start practicing and playing in the gym, they're getting that advantage that I know that both head coaches are looking at me, that they want that advantage going into the Horizon League participation this fall and winter.
For Chris, how much, if at all, did this facility play a part in showing, I guess, that you were, I don't know if I want to say worthy, but good to be a part of the Horizon League?
Well, I think anytime that you're looking at conference affiliation, one part of that is definitely facilities, the size of the facilities, the amenities of the facilities. And I think what really kind of struck out to the Horizon League members and the commissioner was this facility, was the commitment to basketball, the commitment to the volleyball programs. This is one heck of a facility. It was, a big reason why I came here. It's a lot of people did the work and I inherited it, right? And so I do think that this facility, it's a dynamic, as we've all said, it's a game changer, and it's allowed us to have that opportunity to change conferences and elevate the competitive excellence of our basketball and volleyball programs.
Maybe we ask, can John hear us? John, can he hear our question?
I can.
Great,
can,
John,
Chris.
do you maybe want to comment on that?
Sure. Thank you. Early on when Chris King and I kind of explored our dreams and aspirations, early in the conversation, it was about, what's the aspiration for our league? Aspiration in our league is we want to get back to the Final Four. There's nothing like it, and we can do it. It really included 3 elements. If you think about basketball, number one, we have to have an extraordinarily robust commitment with and to our broadcast partner, ESPN, which we do, and that coincided with Chris's vision. Secondly, you have to have a great place to have your tournament, and we have that in Indianapolis. It's a destination city. It's an unbelievable place to host major events, the right place for us. And third, we have to have the right approach to scheduling such that our bottom doesn't hold back the top. And so we want multiple teams, we want higher seed path. So, and then in addition to that is funding and facility. And as we explored what both sides wanted, you know, those were the elements. So the facility was a huge factor, and the RMU commitment was a huge factor, along with our 3 league elements that I just explained. So it was a natural fit from a basketball perspective. I'd be remiss if I didn't say a word about women's basketball. We're pretty darn good at women's basketball. You think about Green Bay and IUPUI and Wright State, now adding Robert Morris. Are you kidding? I mean, we're going to be good in women's basketball, which is very exciting. We should be getting deep in the tournament in women's basketball. So we want to do that, and we're going to do it. And Robert Morris just helps us do that and do it quickly.
For the commissioner, Alan Saunders, Pittsburgh Sports Now. How does going to 12 teams change things for the conference from a conference schedule perspective, from the conference tournament perspective, that kind of thing?
Yeah, all for the better, because again, I'm going to be narrow on basketball. It gives us some advantages in the other sports as well. Picking up a softball program is absolutely great for us. But when you talk about basketball, there's so many permutations and combinations for basketball. You could go divisional. You can play 22 games, 20 games, 18 games, even 16 games. So the magic, we believe, is we've got to give our teams an opportunity to utilize their non-conference segment that helps with our aspiration, which is to be nationally competitive. And then you have to make sure that the conference schedule helps you do that as well. So it also gives you a lot of bracketing permutations and combinations for Indianapolis. So it just, I would say it's flexibility, and it's potential, and it's opportunity. Those 3 words really, I think, come to the forefront when you think about 12.
Any other questions? All right. Stick around. About 20 minutes, we've got another press conference coming up.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Good afternoon and welcome back to the UPMC Event Center for the second of two exciting announcements this afternoon. Before we get started, we want to thank everyone in attendance for today's event, including members of the media. In order to keep everybody safe, we are following social distance guidelines for today's announcements, and we appreciate everyone's cooperation. Following this afternoon's announcement, Jim Duzick, RMU's Assistant Athletic Director for Media Relations, will moderate another Q&A session for the members of the media. Dr. Chris Howard, our special guest via Zoom, and myself will be joined by head football coach Bernard Clark for questions during the Q&A portion. In order to accommodate the media who weren't able to join us at the UPMC Event Center this afternoon, we provided a separate Zoom link for questions that we facilitated by Assistant Director of Media Relations, Ethan Woy. We ask all members of the media to please hold any questions until we conclude today's live stream announcement. As indicated in our 1 p.m. announcement today, 1 year ago, last week, I was standing at the same podium in the same location and being introduced as the next Vice President and Director of Athletics at my alma mater. I'd be remiss if I didn't once again personally thank President Howard for this wonderful opportunity to serve each of you as your Director of Athletics at Robert Morris over the past year. Today's announcements are the next big step in our commitment to and for RMU athletics and for our football program. Today, RMU aligns ourselves with a nationally recognized and well-branded conference that will continue to provide national exposure and a commitment of athletics and academic excellence for our football program. Prior to introducing President Howard, once again, we'd like to personally thank Jonathan Potts, our Vice President for Marketing and Public Relations, and his team. We'd also like to thank our Media Center on campus, and Chelsea Blakely, our Deputy Athletic Director, External Operations, Jim Duzick, our Assistant AD for Media Relations, and all of our marketing and media relations staff for your efforts and oversight with this afternoon's press conference. At this time, I'd like to introduce our esteemed President, Dr. Chris Howard, to say a few remarks and provide today's announcements.
Thank you very much, Chris. I appreciate this opportunity. As you have already guessed, we still have one more announcement to make today. In 1993, Robert Morris University launched NCAA D1 football under the leadership of President Ed Nicholson as a way to invigorate campus life, boost school spirit, and expand the university's footprint outside the Pittsburgh region. We were actually in that football field at Moon Township High School just down the road under the leadership of Coach Joe Walton, who's a dear friend of the program, and so delighted to have him in our community and in our lives. We wish him and his wife all the best. It was part of a concerted strategy to raise RMU's visibility and to build a more residential campus, and it has paid dividends for RMU. Football has had a tremendous impact at RMU with 6 conference titles and the only undefeated season of any sport in Colonial history. Under Coach Bernard Tiger Clark, the team has returned to its winning ways, and today we are proud to announce that the Colonials will be joining the Big South Conference in 2021 as an associate member for football. Now, this is an excellent opportunity for Robert Morris University, and joining the Big South will allow Coach Clark, his staff, and our student athletes, as well as the coaches, to take the program to even greater heights. We are grateful to the Big South Conference and their commissioner, Cal Callender, for his support and his assistance in this whole process. Thank you, Kyle, for helping us navigate this. You've been terribly kind and professional and thoughtful. We look forward to the competition. I also want to recognize, as I did earlier, the Northeast Conference for all that the conference has done for RMU football. Now I'll turn it back over to our Athletic Director and Vice President, Chris King.
Thank you, Dr. Howard. Once again, due to the current environment with the pandemic, we are taking appropriate safety precautions that unfortunately do not allow for our special guest, Big South Conference Commissioner Kyle Callender, to be on campus for today's announcement. He's, however, joining us virtually via Zoom. Thank you, Commissioner Callender. We appreciate you making accommodations to be part of today's exciting announcement. For members of the media, Commissioner Callender will be available for questions following today's announcement. Commissioner Callender is entering his 25th year as the Big South Conference Commissioner. Commissioner Callender brought football to the Big South in 2002 with FCS national success within 5 years of existence. He embarked on an updated strategy in 2015 to transform the Big South into the premier non-FBS conference in the Southeast, and he spearheaded the most comprehensive rebranding of the league's identity in 2017. Commissioner Callender has presided over the most pivotal events in the league's history, both athletically and academically. During his tenure, the Big South has advanced in the FCS playoffs 8 times in the last 9 years, including 5 quarterfinal appearances since 2013. The Big South has recorded multiple postseason bids 5 times since the league first received an automatic bid in 2017. The Big South has had a member ranked in the FCS Top 25 national rankings in 118 of the last 121 polling weeks, including the last 34 consecutive weeks. Since sponsoring football in 2002, the Big South has 6 FBS wins to its credit, all since 2010, 10 NFL draft selections, 242 total All-Americans, and 14 total academic All-American honorees. The Big South has had the nation's #1 ranked program in the FCS coaches poll back in 2014 and 2015 for a total of 10 weeks. Kennesaw State, a Big South member, has reached its highest #2 in the FCS national rankings in 2018, and a total of 87 former Big South football players have earned NFL opportunities since 2002. Nationally, Commissioner Calander has been heavily involved in many and numerous NCAA committees, including previously serving on the NCAA Football Oversight Committee. Commissioner Calander, I want to thank you for your transparency and your support through this entire process. One of the hurdles for securing conference membership, announced earlier today with the Horizon League, was finding a competitive conference membership for our football program. Commissioner Calander, it's with sincere gratitude that we again express our appreciation to you and the Big South Conference presidents for consideration of Robert Morris University for football membership in the Big South Conference. We look forward to our football program building great traditions and rivalries in the Big South and contending for a Big South championship and an FCS playoff berth. Today's a great day for RMU and for our RMU football program. At this time, we would like to introduce Commissioner Calander for his remarks this afternoon. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Chris, and thank you, Dr. Howard. I do appreciate your comments earlier regarding the racism in this country and the athletics role in that issue. And the Big South Conference stands ready to play its role and to do its part to address racial issues. So on behalf of the Big South Conference, I am thrilled to welcome Robert Morris University as our 9th football member. You know, back in 2002, our first year, as Chris mentioned, we only had 3 conference games on the schedule. That's right, we only had 4 members. But at that time, we committed to growing in a smart and deliberate way. It was important for us to get bigger. It was important for us to get better. It was important for us to have an opportunity to play for national championships in football, to provide those opportunities for our student athletes, to get that recognition and to play for championships. Well, we've done all of that. As Chris mentioned, we regularly get multiple teams in the FCS playoffs, but not only that, we advance. We've had 13 wins in the 10 seasons we played in the FCS playoffs. Our student athletes regularly get national recognition. In fact, we had one student athlete, Pete Guerrero, running back from Monmouth last year, was a finalist for the Walter Payton Award, the highest award in FCS football. It's really important to recognize the success of the Big South Conference. But what's most important at this point is the fact that we've also grown. We've grown from 4, we've grown to 6, we've grown to 8, and now I'm so pleased and proud that our 9th member in Big South Conference football is Robert Morris University. Robert Morris is an outstanding institution. The trajectory of its football program is so positive. That was outlined earlier. We are excited to bring in Robert Morris football and the potential it has to be successful nationally and in the Big South Conference. The leadership at Robert Morris is unparalleled at the presidential level, at the athletics level, and certainly at the football level. We are so excited to have that leadership as part of the Big South Conference. The Big South Conference will be a better football league with Robert Morris as a part of it. So a huge Big South Conference welcome to the Colonials. We're excited for 2021 and to welcome you into the league. Thank you.
Thank you for your kind remarks, Commissioner Calander. This day signifies another milestone in the growth of RMU athletics and for our football program. We are excited to join the Big South Conference as an associate member in football and become a part of a league that has sent multiple teams annually to the FCS playoffs in recent years. We see this move as an opportunity for the football program to build new and exciting competitors, enhance our recruiting, and provides a focus on football excellence. RMU will officially become the 9th member of the Big South Conference on July 1st, 2020, but they will begin conference play in the 2021 football season. RMU football will play as an independent this fall, as the NEC bylaws maintain that a withdrawing institution is ineligible for conference postseason participation. Due to the moving to the Horizon League for other sports to avoid postseason ineligibility, football could not remain as an affiliate member this fall. Big South Conference football has experienced remarkable and historical achievements since 2010 that I discussed here a little bit earlier, including prominent success in the FCS playoffs and nationally ranked football programs. With the growth and consistent multiple playoff caliber football programs, the Big South Conference continues to be a major national competitor in FCS football, and this was the driving force in our decision making. Big South will be a step up in competition for our football program, but based on the hiring of Coach Clark, his recruiting, his competitive successes, and our commitment to playing in a higher profile football conference, we're excited about the new partnership and athletic rivalries of the Big South Conference football institutions. For our long-term growth, the Big South Conference League is certainly the right move for our football program and our university. We are excited about this next chapter and continuing the forward momentum of RMU athletics. We are committed to elevating our football program, and we have recently signed agreements to play Central Michigan in 2021, Miami of Ohio in 2022, Air Force in 2023, and West Virginia in 2025. We are serious about elevating the profile, the brand, the competitive success of this football program. And as you heard, by scheduling Air Force in 2023, I'm a pretty intelligent athletic director, because that will be the year that my contract expires. So then what a better time to make my boss happy.
That's right.
You're welcome, as an Air Force graduate. We're also planning our annual game against Duquesne. I know that's going to be a question. As soon as this next fall, 2021 football season, we need to work around the Big South and the NEC conference schedule and existing non-conference agreements already in place. There's a commitment on both sides to continue playing for our student athletes, our alumni, and our fan bases and supporters. Stay tuned for more information here in the near future. We want to conclude by emphasizing that today is a culmination of teamwork, community support, cooperation, and collaboration. We want each of you to share in today's announcements in regards to new conference affiliation in 2021 with the Horizon League and in 2021 with the Big South as an associate member in football. It is with sincere gratitude that we again express our appreciation to the Big South Conference and Commissioner Calander for selection as the newest football member of the Big South Conference. Thank you for your attendance today at today's virtual press conference, and we appreciate your continued support of RMU Athletics. At this time, we'll once again ask Jim Duzick, Assistant Athletic Director for Media Relations, to the podium to MC the Q&A portion of today's announcement with members of our media. We also have with us head coach Bernard Clark. And Coach Clark, very excited for you, very excited for the football program.
Sounds great to me.
All right, just like before, if we have any questions for Dr. Howard, Chris King, or Bernard Clark, please raise your hand, give your name and affiliation.
Jim, can I say something before we start? Yeah. Is it on?
Yes.
Oh, it's on. Thank you very much. And like Chris said, we're extremely excited about joining the Big South. But more excited, I just got to say this before we start. Happy anniversary to my beautiful wife, Tammy. Because if I don't say it, we're going to have problems when we get home. 18 blissful years. So just want to say that before we continue. Thank you.
He's even smarter than you, Chris.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Hi, Alicia.
Andrew Chiappese from the Beaver County Times. You mentioned the impact of travel in the Horizon League. Obviously, the footprint in the Big South is a little bit larger. What kind of impact do you see travel having and expenses in moving up to the Big South?
Yeah, I'll take that one. You know, it's actually, the proximity is about the same. You wouldn't think it, right? But, you know, we make a lot of trips to Connecticut, Staten Island. Those trips are all 6 to 10 hours. And, you know, going down south, about 6 to 10 hours for most of those trips as well. So it's really kind of budget neutral. There may be one trip that's a little bit longer, but of course we're looking at, you know, chartering those flights that are going to be up in the Connecticut area and the NEC regardless. And so, you know, when we looked at it, we were a little surprised, I think, because you automatically think going down south is going to be a little longer, but it's really, it's about the same.
I guess for Chris or Dr. Howard, is there anything from a facility standpoint or from a coaching staff investment standpoint that you feel like you're going to need to make to stay competitive in the Big South?
Well, we made an investment with the coaching staff this past year. When I arrived here, and we've made a reinvestment in Coach Clark, and made sure that we locked him up so he can be the head coach here for many years, right after the fall season. We do have a number of plans. They're on hold based on the pandemic, but if anyone is out there watching, we are going to be very shortly having a fundraising campaign for the locker room. Without a doubt, that's something we want to do to be able to elevate recruiting and, of course, make just a better environment, for our student athletes. And so we got a laundry list of things that we would like to do down the road once we get through this pandemic. And so those are things that we're looking at all of our sports as well overall.
Hey, Chris, I'm just going to piggyback and say, it starts off with a coach that of character, who knows his X's and O's, knows how to build a program, and what Coach Clark has shown in a couple of short years that he can do that. I thank you, Commissioner Callender, again, for mentioning the great talent here, the young man from Monmouth being a finalist for the Walter Payton. Well, this guy was a finalist for the Eddie Robinson and the NEC Coach of the Year. So we started at the right level with the right person, and then the resources are going to continue to follow in the appropriate way with the support that's coming out for these fine student athletes. And as Chris has pointed out, there's a lot of people chomping at the bit to reinvest in RMU Colonial football, and it's happening now. Serving on the College Football Playoff Selection Committee the past 3 years, talking to some of the FBS coaches out there and other administrators and leaders, they say, you got Tiger Clark on your staff, you're going in the right direction. And then the resources will continue to follow as people get re-excited about this program.
Mike Pursuta from DVE. This is for Coach Clark. Your AD mentioned Air Force and West Virginia. When's the Hurricanes game? And what's the vision down the road? Where do you want to take this?
Well, the great thing about going into the Big South is my first full-time job. I was a restricted earnings coach at James Madison University when I first started out, but my first full-time job was at Liberty University under Kim Graham, who's our associate AD here, who's the AD at Liberty at the time, and we were part of the Big South. So we played against Charleston Southern, Gardner-Webb. So I'm very familiar with those areas, especially being from Florida and being in the South. I think the thing that's going to help us as we grow in the league and as we grow in the conference, I think that's going to help us get more recognition. So Miami could be down the road. You never know. It's one of those situations. We're not looking forward to playing Air Force or Miami or West Virginia, but it's a great situation. What it does for our guys, it puts our guys in the right mindset of understanding that this is how much we have to grow to be at this level and play at this level. So our guys understand that thing. So that's the good thing about what's going on with our players.
Yeah, Mike, real quick, one of the best things is when you're looking at game guarantees and you call your head football coach and you say, so what do you think about playing X institution? And when there's a pause, you always get a kick out of it. I had a couple pauses on some of those games.
I get a kick out of them also.
Coach, is this going to have a big impact in your recruiting map? Are you going to move more down south?
To be totally honest with you, our recruiting area is strictly going to be more than any other place. It's going to be Pennsylvania, Ohio, Maryland, New Jersey. Those areas aren't going to change. And the great thing about recruiting those areas, the only team that's really competing against us in those areas right now would be Monmouth. We're going to still do Florida here and there. We got a coach that's from Georgia who also played at Mars Hill in North Carolina. So we have guys in different areas, but our main area is still going to be Pennsylvania, Ohio, Maryland, New Jersey area.
Coach, have you talked to any of your current players about the move, and how are they excited about it?
Well, no, because I just got the news myself, so I haven't spoken to them. So they're probably hearing it for the first time today, just like I heard for the first time today. So it's one of those. Coach and I have been talking about it. Chris and I have been talking about going back and forth, but nothing's been in concrete. So this is probably the first time. I felt my phone buzz a couple of times, so I may be getting a couple of texts from guys right now.
Yeah, you mentioned Monmouth, Coach Clark. Is that a team you can look at that made the same transition that you're going to make from the NEC, adding scholarships, going to the Big South, as sort of a blueprint? Obviously, they had a very successful season last year. Monmouth did.
Well, I think that's up to Chris and Dr. Howard. That's a situation that they're going to deal with. We know where we have to go in order to compete at that level against those guys in that conference. So they understand the same things that we understand. Things have to change when it comes to scholarships and stuff like that. But it's going to be a slow process. It's nothing that's going to happen overnight, and we understand that as a coaching staff. And we're going to bust our behinds like we've always do to put the best product on the field, and we're going to continue to do those things.
You guys mentioned the relationship with ESPN for the Horizon League. Is there any change in exposure for you guys in football with the Big South, TV contracts, web streaming, anything like that you guys are looking forward to?
I'd like to defer that one to Commissioner Calander. Question was about the exposure, media exposure, in regards to the video streaming and with ESPN.
Great, thanks for the question, appreciate it. We have a long-standing agreement with ESPN. In fact, we're very proud of what we've been able to accomplish in terms of increasing exposure for our institutions and student athletes. We've always been an early adapter, whether it was ESPNU or ESPN3 or now ESPN Plus. And in fact, we had Big South Network, one of the first conferences to have a digital network, probably 15 years ago. We launched it. ESPN came to us 2 years ago and said, we really like what you're doing. We want to effectively buy that from you and put it on ESPN Plus, which wasn't an easy decision because we're going from a free platform to a paywall, but ultimately we decided it was the right thing to do. So all of our football games are either on ESPN Plus or ESPN3, and the occasional game will be on ESPNU. So from an exposure standpoint, it really is tremendous, and support and the benefit we get from the brand partnering with ESPN, I think has really helped our institutions quite a bit.
Chris, do you believe that you'll be able to still work out a deal with Duquesne in order to play every year, and is that something that's important to you?
Absolutely. No, I've already talked to Duquesne's administrator who deals with the football scheduling, and we were already getting down that line as regards to hopefully being able to schedule. There's a few complications in the first 2 years, but then once we get to 2023 and thereafter, we'll be scheduling annually from there on out. And I know that the head coaches are both committed to playing. They both enjoy that game and for the fan bases. And Coach, you want to speak on it?
Yes, that's definitely something. I spoke with Coach Schmidt about that, and we definitely want to continue this rivalry. I've said it, and Chris is going to contest to this. I've said it a couple of times. We need to change it to some type of bowl game. Maybe call it the Twisted Bowl or something along those lines, so we can continue this tradition of a game. Because probably the one thing that I'm not even a huge Pittsburgh Panthers fan, except for when I coached there. I'm not even a big fan, but the backyard brawl is something I miss. So missing games like that and dropping rivalries like that, it really hurts college football. So we want to make sure we continue that rivalry.
Hey, Chris, if I can make a comment.
The Commander-in-Chief's trophy is already taken, though, Coach Clark. The Commander-in-Chief's trophy is already taken.
This is true.
You can't call it that. Call it something else.
I think that Commissioner Calander, you wanted to speak?
Yeah, just real briefly. You know, I'm big on rivalries. I think the thing that separates college athletics from everything else are the rivalries that are built, and it is sad to see some of those rivalries go by the wayside these days. And so we try to build those rivalries as best we can. We think about that in scheduling, and they're not always conference games. Sometimes they are non-conference games. And so we will work with Robert Morris. Can't promise anything at this point, that will Chris, but we want to work with Robert Morris to protect those rivalries if we can, because they're huge. They're huge to the institution, and they ultimately help the conference.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you for coming out today. We do have one-on-one opportunities here with Dr. Howard, Chris King, and Coach Clark. Again, thanks for coming out.
Thank you.